All right. Welcome to episode 3 of Gym Rants. Uh, I'm recording this one week after episode 2, and in episode 2, I said the next episode is going to be a little bit less sensitive than the current one, which was about PEDs. But I feel like it's not getting any sensitive with this one because I want to talk about social media and if it's for the better or for the worse of the fitness community. And I'm not going to give a definitive answer. Is like, okay, social media is good, social media is bad, but I want to look at both sides and evaluate what we have basically. So I feel like nowadays more and more people are going in the influencer route instead of classic corporate office jobs, and good for them if that's what they want to do. I respect that. But especially now with how easy creating content with AI is as well, we're getting a lot of content. And you know what they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So with the added content, I feel like there is no added value to it. Especially what happened after this week. If you're following me on Instagram, the interaction that I had with a so-called gym influencer. But so what's happening is there are typical content that you find on Instagram, even though they look different on paper, they actually are not. It's the same conversation and again and again and again. And if I need to list them, for example, you have, oh, I am benching this much as a woman. Hmm. Insecure man that cannot do it is going to be really mad. And then you have man posting a content and then saying, well, look at my bench. If you cannot do this, you might as well call yourself a woman. And oh, wow, look at me. I'm deadlifting your blah, 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 or I'm overhead pressing your squat is wow. And I feel like the whole thing, the whole ordeal just became a rage baiting and measuring contest between people that don't know each other. And I feel like gym, instead of being toxic by means of comparison, by toxic comparison, you mean, is the whole environment is becoming really non-encouraging and intimidating for many people. Especially here's like thinking for beginners, because when you're at a certain level of experience, you know things and you see things for what they are. For example, when I see someone deadlifting 450 or 400 or something on Instagram, I know that that number is not going to be me. So instead of being intimidated by that, I just really appreciate that because it's a sight to be seen. And I know that my overhead press, for example, is something that many people will never reach in their lives, but that's a genetical limit. That's basically like the talent. And when I see things this way, it's no problem for me because I'm in peace with that. But when you have someone that is just beginning or in the middle of their journey or like having this competitive urge, it's really discouraging for the other person. And I feel like as a community, gym and fitness, instead of being discouraging, should be all about encouragement because we're all doing this for ourselves. And when someone is trying to make themselves better, I feel like this is something that we should support, either by giving information, either by giving support, either by encouraging their development and improvement. But that's not where things are going. It's just becoming more and more rage baiting content to get more and more clicks. So, and I don't see an end to this. I really don't see where this type of content will bring anyone in the end. What are we planning to achieve with this type of content by just taking others down? So you can look at it in a different way and say, wow, good job, you're lifting the most weight. Congratulations. What does that make you achieve? And it's just an argument that is never going to end. So I feel like that's a really toxic thing to do nowadays on the internet. And you have, on the other hand, the recycled AI content that is just not ending. I also mentioned it this week on my story. Please go to your For You page on Instagram and refresh it. You will get the same reel with the same captions, same descriptions, perhaps different products, perhaps different people. And that's all there's to change because it's the same content. These people don't even know what they're posting at this point. They're just giving a prompt to an AI and then they're getting a list, put some background music, put yourself in the background. The music is whatever is famous at that moment. Is the every time the same bullshit and put product placement, put some codes, put some bullshit descriptions again given by AI, and then don't talk about it anymore. Just post it and let people do what they want to do with it. But the problem is that the information is mainly wrong, it's outdated, it's not backed by evidence or like supported by anything at all. And when you push these people as to give more of a statement, more back their statements basically, well, no, you're just getting more rage baiting comments. So, to give an example as to what happened this week, we had this post from this supposedly 12 plus years of experience dude, and he's just saying, oh, if you can do cardio after legs day, you haven't really trained legs. And when I asked him, okay, just back your statement, tell me what is this about? He said, you're not working hard enough. So I can either take this to heart and get really mad about it, which why would I? Well, my experience speaks for himself. I'm at peace with my own experience. But when I think of it from the perspective of someone that is just starting their journey, it gets me mad because it is not true. It is not a good, like, sported statement that you're putting out there, and it is discouraging. And at the same time, it is misinformation. You're just adding more to the pool of misinformation, and that's, in my opinion, not correct. And that was the second type. And the third type is purely just influencing. So it's like we went to this restaurant and ate everything in the restaurant. Well, yeah, not everyone has to go the informative route. And but I just think that it's a waste. It's a waste of food, it's a waste of money. Of course, it's your money, so I don't care about your money, but it is again a waste of food. And as a population, I think we got to the point where we're just consuming fast food content. It's like easy to watch. You don't have to think about it. You can just watch it, laugh about it, put a like on it, and then scroll down. You send it to your friends. They probably never watch it because you're sending 1,000 reels a day. And this is just the reality of social media, in my opinion, nowadays. It's easy to consume fast food content that has no meaning behind it whatsoever and is just created purely for likes and engagement. And fitness community just became about who can get the most engagement, and it is mostly disregarding the content itself. So by all means, give me the most likes, give me the most comments. Let me say something bullshit. Let me just rage bait people and then let's have a discussion. I will just keep making jokes, but at the end, I'm getting engagement. And I think this is exactly what's wrong with the fitness industry at the moment, especially when combined with social media. Last episode, I said there's so much information nowadays with internet being better, with social media, with AI and everything. But I feel like this is not going for the better because if 90% of the information that is out there is wrong and it is misinformation basically, you can even say malinformation, then doesn't mean that having more is better. And that's why I believe quality over quantity in this situation. And that's exactly what's wrong with social media nowadays. So if you were to ask me, I can give you 3 to 5 sources that is incredible. And that's what my Instagram is about. The people that I'm having an interaction with is about. I'm not having interactions with cheap content creators. I'm not following. I don't want to be a part of that. And I also don't want my Instagram to be represented by that. is it giving me a lot of engagement, the content that I create, the information that I'm trying to provide? Obviously not, but still, I don't want to jump onto the ship just because it is giving me more engagement. I don't want to lose my character and what I stand for. And I feel like that's what's wrong with the majority of the people nowadays. There are so good sources, but for every good source that you have 20 bad sources. So, what I would suggest, especially if you're someone that is just starting with their journey, you cannot find like that needle in a haystack that is really good when it comes to giving information. But I feel like you have to be more skeptical. You have to ask more questions. You have to look at people that is perhaps not getting so much engagement, but their content seems to make sense. You have to combine with like AI and ask if this is true. You have to look at papers. You have to look at more videos from people that actually have good competition history or perhaps good accomplishments instead of jumping on board with the first person that calls themselves 20 years of experience. I am certified. I am this and that. So instead of looking at people with a lot of self promotion and a lot of self confidence, perhaps it is better to stay away from social media a bit when it comes to gathering information and look at things from a less social media standpoint. But hey, this was episode 3 when it comes to gym rants. Do I believe it's going to get better for fitness or just overall information gathering when it comes to social media? No, I'm quite pessimistic on the matter. I feel like it's going to get worse and worse with how people want to get easy money and good engagement. So I feel like it is better to stay away from social media if you really want to learn about the topic and if you really want to get better, because you're either being discouraged by the posts or you're being misinformed. And as I said multiple times, you can look at things from two ways. When you see someone doing uh, unimaginary things, instead of being discouraged, just appreciate it. Don't take don't take things too personally, especially when because you cannot stop these posts. It's not going to stop just because I said it's not good. It's not going to stop. People are going to do what's better for them, what's more beneficial for them, and not think about the community at all. So that's the sad reality of the things. So you gotta protect yourself instead of trying to change things, I believe. But hey, this was Jim Rent's episode 3. Let's see what episode 4 is going to be about. Hopefully, this time it is going to be about something less sensitive. And take care, guys. See you on the next episode.